is the famous jaw movements. Okay. We try to avoid jaw movements because the jaw, just as the buttocks, are two of the most strong muscular areas of the body from nature. Okay? We have usually very strong buttocks muscles. Yeah? We need to have that because that holds back from us just going to the bathroom all the time. Yeah? So there are muscles there that always work without us even knowing it. Okay? The jaw is also an extremely strong muscle. Yeah? Because it's been made there to actually chew and give the first part of the digestive system working. Okay? So, that's very strong. We try in singing to avoid as much as possible any unnecessary jaw movements, because as soon as the jaw comes in, it tends to want to clench for some reason. It wants to bite. Yeah? It wants to take control. Yeah? And then our air can't really flow properly because there's a holding there going on. So, but there are some consonants for which we have to use a jaw movement, or let's call it this maybe a chin movement, better than a jaw movement, let's put it that. And these are, I did this in kind of a phonetic thing. S, z, f, b, ch, sh, j, j, t, z. Yeah? Makes sense, right? They're all jaw movements. We can't do that without having a jaw movement. Okay? There may be one or two that I haven't written down here that I have forgotten. There may be some, I don't know, also combination. For example, the ts and the z are more like combinations also. There may be some combinations that I've forgotten. But you can figure that out yourself. That's not a problem. But that's the basic idea. These have to be jaw movements. They should come, according to our rules, as quickly as possible, as late as possible. That's very important. Precisely means jaw up and down immediately, and not yeah, or for example, and not
yes. And yesterday you said that when you do the
yes,
you use less air than
well, it's good to try. It's good to try as much as possible not to lose air for your consonants. Now there are some unvoiced consonants, for example, like f, s, sh, etc. For these, if you can think implosive, instead of f, I think f. This is actually very useful if you, I'm sure you know this also, very useful when you're working with a composer such as a Rossini, because there's so many people, and if you're losing air all the time, then you won't get anywhere with Rossini. Yeah? So all of these consonants have to be slightly implosive. In general, it's good to have implosive consonants, unless you want a specific effect. For example, or something. If I wanted, as I said, these are standard information. If I want to make an exception, then I have to make it consciously. Nothing should happen accidentally. I should make it consciously if I do something other than this. I think it's very helpful to think of this as being articulated with the upper teeth coming outside of the lower lip and doing and not also, that way you also have a jaw movement. And this way you have, yeah? It's a slight jaw movement, but it's not as much, yeah? Are there any questions about those jaw movements? The point is as quick as possible. Yes, jaw, but up, down. So I'm not talking about, for example, with you yesterday, Timmy, it was a little bit this idea of, okay, I'm not supposed to articulate too long, and then we sort of lose some of the articulation of the consonants. We're not talking about singing, like I say, mushy, like swimming, It should be very clear.
Yes.
Yeah? But it just has to move and go back, move and go back, move and go back, whether it's jaw or tongue or lips, whatever. Okay? Especially the jaw. So then there are what I call upper lip consonants, this family. And that's where you have the jaw open for ah. The upper lip comes down to the lower lip and does yeah? So the upper lip has to be very plastic in its ability to move. Many singers tend to lift the upper lip a little bit, and you lose the ability to pull this upper lip down to articulate the M. So you end up cuts off the musical phrase using a jaw, hanging jaw and upper lip. You can also do a little bit of what I call humming on it. For example, for example. Yeah?
It's like a sophisticated yawning.
Yes, yes. You feel the yawn, so you still have your ah position there. You have a drop jaw, relaxed jaw, but you're still articulating. Yeah? It's not pop, 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 pop. You hear immediately the difference, right? Yeah? Okay, especially something like that where it's repeated constantly. Okay? Are there questions about any of these consonants up to now? I think it's pretty clear. Yeah? As I said, it's not easy to do immediately, but the knowledge is important that you know this. Okay. So, as I've written here, it says, in general, the singer should think economically and avoid unnecessary movements such as jaw movement when it's not required. Very important little sentence there. Ha and h and h, yeah, in the German language, for example, don't really belong to any family. They aren't really consonants, you know, it's just air. So that's why they aren't actually in a family of consonants. But these should be articulated by thinking of this particular note where the H or the CH is as having a little accent on it and sort of laughing like ha, ha, ha. So it connects to lower abdominals. Have I written down that here? I hope so. Yes, so it's you stop the airflow when you let go. Yeah? You breathe in this and ha, and the abdominals stop the flow of air. Ha, otherwise ha, it would just be a stream of air. But there's a Spannung as soon as I think of it like an accent. Yeah, ha ha, die teure ha, right? Ha, yeah, yeah. Or for example, busy, bossy, yeah, for example. That's it. Okay, and it's the same thing with the ha and the sh. I have this down here because after the O, I think I wrote it down, yes it is, after the O and the A, the German h is a little bit further back, and after the E, for example, it's more forward. Ich, auch, nicht, Nacht. Yeah, so it's a little... What?
How about the high?
Hiding. Every H. Also in the middle word da, hi, is true, or whatever, yeah? All H's are connected to lower abdominals. They're a little puff of air like an accent and then stop. That's why they have to be connected to abdominals, otherwise you're just pushing the air through the vocal cords. This is not only tiring, but it will also dry the voice after a while. So, I think that's pretty clear also, right? Okay. Multiple consonants, I mentioned it actually way before. For example, schla, yeah? These follow the same rules as everything above. This is something you have to try out because you're going to think, wait a minute, but that's a tongue tip and that's a jaw, and how do I do it? What you do is you do jaw, tongue tip. Sha, sha, not sha. So the L is not a jaw movement. The sh is a jaw movement. I drop and the tongue does the. Yeah? Or helft. Helft and helft. So the f is jaw, but the is tip of tongue. So you do first of all tip of tongue, then you bring in the jaw for the f at the last minute. Helft. Okay? So you separate in your way of articulating, you articulate it just like this, but you put it close together as far as timing is concerned. It's a little raffineer, it's a little refined thinking, but that's the way it works. Yeah. Interesting thing about the N consonant, this is just a little extra thought. It can be really produced in three different ways. The one is the tip of the tongue we've talked about. For example, no, 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 no. Yeah? It can be produced with the back of the tongue in conjunction or together with g and k. For example, we said ram, call. That's an N, right? So it can also be back of tongue. Then we have a middle of tongue, for example, if I'm trying to get a special effect. Just a second. Und auf uns singt das Glückes stummes Schweigen. So it's not, if I get Schweigen, then the music stops.
Yeah.
With the tip of the tongue, which would be normal. If I use the middle of the tongue, I can do some tapering.
It's like a sort of a humming.
It's a kind of a humming, exactly. Yeah. So this is something for an effect. But I just want to point out, because you may discover that and you'll maybe wonder, wait a minute, I was just tongue tip to do that. Yeah. It's true, there are 3 different ways of articulating, and depending on where it is, what the kind of style is, what the word is, etc. Okay? I think that's not so difficult. Yeah, for example, in the German, ja, ja, ja. Ja, ja. And in Marshall, for example, it's not ja, ja. That's a donkey. Ja, ja, ja. Yeah? And as soon as you have this ja, then it really, that's why a donkey's sound is considered to be ugly or comical or funny, because it is 2 different kind of resonances. So why would we want to produce donkey sounds? Just like I say, why would we want to produce cat sounds? Meow, for example, going on. Okay, we want to produce beautiful sounds as much as possible, or as much as beautiful sounds fit our repertoire that we're doing. Sometimes we have to make ugly sounds intentionally. So this E-A is really just A position, because that's your basic vowel, and the tongue comes in and does ya, ya, ya. For example, ya, du, ha, not ya, du, ha, e. You hear the larynx? Ya, e, ya, du, heißes Feuer, for example. Yeah? And there's not just ya in German, there are yas in the middle of words, etc. in other languages. But that's a really good example for the German example. Some consonants, and we've talked about some of them already, are articulated, or they're supported, that's a better way of putting it, in the body. Articulated is a dumb word, let's take that out. Supported in the body. That means that you build up a little bit of pressure, for example, yeah? So you connect this consonant, because it's a voiced consonant, to your support system. And what happened is, you bring this, not up, I have a hanging belly, you bring this in, yeah? It connects, and then to the vowel, for example, then the intercostals react. So you get sh. You understand? Otherwise you get trying to do intercostals, and what you get is pressure and bringing weight up into the voice, for example. This keeps it pulled apart. Here the consonant, voiced consonant, and the vowel in the intercostals. And that will work every time. It doesn't have to do with tessitura or anything. That's a very important little technical idea that isn't really logopedy, actually. That has more to do with voice and with singing. For example, I have this nice example here. I have then my, for example, in the English language. It's not then my. Who did we have the other day that was doing a schwa in between some of the words? I can't remember. Was that you? Do you remember what that was?
Klar. Rein und klar.
Klar. Yeah, no, it was between 2, not in one word, but between 2 words, someone. Okay, it doesn't matter. There was a schwa sound between 2 words. Here we have 2 words, then and then my. Avoid then my. What happens if you have a schwa? Then my. Then you're releasing the tension of the support system. Then my voice sounds so beautifully, or whatever. Then my. Okay. I think that's also understandable. So this is especially when I have voiced consonants and 2 different words, or even 2 syllables, but mostly 2 different words, because between 2 different syllables we don't usually disconnect so often, but between 2 words we disconnect very often. Yeah? Mm-hmm. Yeah? And sometimes we do that because we think that's legato. Yeah? Yeah, but it's not. It has to Has to connect. Then something I've talked with a couple of the singers about, this is actually already very advanced. The idea of taking a s or a sh and separating it from the vowel. For example, sh, ah, for example, vish, or d sh, it's going to sort of push air, having the sh, the unvoiced consonant on the tone, it's going to push air into that tone. Instead of just articulating v or vel, is a v, vel, sh, vel, sh. We had it in the Marguerite with the richesse, richesse, yeah, the same thing. The unvoiced consonant on the lower note, rish, yeah, and then the vowel in a bell tone, and not rish, rish. And the only thing you have to be careful in that way of articulating is that you don't have too much space between the consonant and the vowel. Not rish, because then we notice sh, and it has to be sh. So it has to lead one to the other, but this has to be in the right position. You know, rish. If I do rish, that's pushing. Yeah. If you try it a couple times, actually, it's very logical. It makes sense if you just play with it a little bit. Yeah. Similar with the word, for example, Stille. That's a wonderful word in the German language, yeah, because it has such depth to it. So it's Stille. Yeah. What is that in Die Nacht? Something. Yeah, and not sh. So the sh on the lower note and then on the upper note. Yeah. Okay, I'm sure we'll have some examples of that during our time together. I'm sure there are questions, but does anyone have a question they would like to articulate at the moment? Does anyone have a question about any of this information?
You third and
Try
again. With the mouth open and
just behind the tip. It's the furthest back point for the tongue tip movements. Because if we have a g, p, n is also back a little bit, yeah.
So the tongue is a little bit like that instead of tip like that.
Yeah, exactly.
The tip of the tongue, with when the middle of the tongue is there, the tip goes behind. Okay, the tip stay behind the
Should always stay here. Also my
always.
yeah. It should really never pull back. The tip of the tongue should never pull back, even if someone's told you to do that.
Yes.
It really should. It's going to take away the space in the throat. Just take it away.
Yes. No, I can feel my voice very good in the right position.
Yeah.
Like before.
Okay. If you have a little bit of difficulty keeping the tongue tip forward, I have a little couple exercises we talked about listening exercises. One of them is just a simple thing like, you know, as if your tongue is a little doggy's tail, and it's one right, left. On the teeth. Teeth. And this movement shouldn't affect the vowel.
How can I make free, especially these parts?
Okay, the best thing is to, now this is not to do the consonants or anything now, but the best thing is to bend over, let your tongue hang out, and just let it wag. Let it hang. Come up without moving the tongue. Come up without moving the tongue. I have to explain it because when I can't talk all the tongue saying